That overwhelming feeling that you have right now, it's not there by mistake. It's actually something we create ourselves. I know how easy it is to feel overwhelmed by the noise and the chaos that life brings each day. So, in this episode, we're breaking down 7 easy steps to simplify your life and to help you regain focus on what truly matters. So, go ahead and grab your notepad because, as always, we're taking notes and we're leveling up. This is Girl Take Note, a podcast for women who are looking to turn their dreams into reality. Hey guys, it's Shaunie here, and welcome back to another episode of Girl Take Note, where we dive deep into personal growth, empowerment, and living the life we all deserve by turning our passions into profits. All right, so it's so easy to get overwhelmed with life. Like, super easy to get overwhelmed because I know how that feels. I live in that space sometimes. I've been able to come out of it, but sometimes life just be what we call lifing. So I thought about this episode because I know I've been feeling overwhelmed in my own life with just the things that I want to do with this podcast, things I want to do with a lot of different things that I'm working on. And sometimes when you're trying to find your way out of it, when you're trying to think about strategies and ways to grow and this and that, it can seem so overwhelming at times. Like life just seems so overwhelming as the business, the personal, like everything, the relationships, the family dynamics, everything can kind of like come to a head where you feel like, God, what is going on? Right? Like I'm feeling some kind of way, but I'm not really sure on how to describe this. And that is what that overwhelming feeling feels like. And so as I'm doing my research, because you guys know this, I'm a research girl. And before I do my solo episodes, I do a deep dive into certain things when it comes to why we feel overwhelmed and what strategies and steps that we can take in order to relieve ourselves from this particular feeling, because we don't want to live in it, because it really can cause us not to progress, right? It can cause us to stay very stagnant. And I don't want to be stagnant, in my overwhelmed world, right? I want to be able to see my way through. I want to be able to see a clear path through the chaos. And so that's why I wanted to do this episode. I know there has to be other people who feel the same way, where you're just at a place in your life where you're feeling just overwhelmed with everything. And you don't have to be an entrepreneur to feel this way. You could just be a mom, a single mom, a working mom, and you begin to just feel overwhelmed with so much other responsibilities and the things you want to do to grow your family, to provide better for your family. And so one of the first steps they suggest into kind of like not feeling overwhelmed is to start with something simple but powerful, which is decluttering your environment. And I truly believe in this because I'm a very organized person. And when my home is not organized, I feel like when it's not like put together, to me, when it's dirty, right? When the floors need to be clean, every room need to be clean, everything need to be washed, I feel absolutely crazy. I don't know about you guys, but that can really drive me crazy. And so I understand that part of just kind of like clearing out your space, cleaning your home, giving yourself a reset and doing it for your environment. Because what they say is that studies show that cluttered spaces can really increase your stress level and really reduce your ability to focus. So being able to clear out the physical distractions around you, whether it's your desk, your living room, your creative space, or even your digital space, trust me, a clean environment can really clear your mind. When you simplify your surroundings and make space for clarity, it really does open up so much more in your life and what you need to do. And I think that's a big part of why we feel overwhelmed, because when we're going through something in our lives, I really know that our environment can really project that, right? You're going through something when your house is not clean, when everything just seems to be all over the place. You're dealing with something. And I've seen people on social media that show videos of like their home is like a wreck because they've been feeling overwhelmed or they've just been feeling depressed. And so they'll get up and they'll try to move themselves out of it by cleaning their space, decluttering their space, clearing out some things, just so you can have some clarity, some able to focus better. I'm a big advocate for when my space is clean and organized. I just feel so much better. I sometimes feel like a weight has been lifted off of me when I'm able to have a space that's really clean and organized, and I'm able to see everything that I need in order to get my job done. And so next up, let's talk about your to-do list. And if you're anything like me, it can feel like there's always too much to do and not enough time. I really feel like that. I feel like I have so much I need to do, but I just don't have enough time to do it. But I think here's the thing. Everything doesn't need to get done today. I think when we make a list, we sometimes feel like we have to attack everything on that list. And then sometimes really we overwhelm ourselves simply because we put too much on the list. We really do. We have all this stuff we want to do where it's like, we really don't need to do that. I think if we can, and I think I said this in my last episode, where if we can just pick 3 things to focus on for that week and try to attack those things, I think it just makes our life so much easier. It makes it so much easier and it makes it so much simpler. And I'm all about simplifying my life and not feeling overwhelmed every day I wake up and try to get things done. So make a list of what actually matters and focus on, like I said, your top 2 or 3 tasks that will move the needle forward for you. Don't try to focus on 20 things in the week when you really know that you might not be able to get to those things. And when we do that, when we put those 20 things on our list and we don't accomplish them, we feel so bad about ourselves. And I know I do. I feel so bad about myself when I'm not able to reach the goals that I set for myself. I get disappointed with myself. So disappointed. And I'm like, why do I lack this discipline that I need to do certain things? And so let's just be careful and be mindful about what we put on our to-do list, because our to-do lists are so important. I feel they're an important part of your process because you do need to know what you need to get done. But don't crowd it up with so many things where it's really unachievable. Like you set yourself up to fail. And I don't want to set myself up to fail. And here's something. Research shows that focusing on a few high impact tasks can really increase your productivity by 50%. 50%. So instead of trying to do everything, just do the right things. Just do the simple things that need to be done. Even if that's just one thing that you can get through, because sometimes your life is busy. Your life is busy. You might be working. You might got the kids to take care of, the husband, all this different stuff we have going on. You might have all these activities that you're into, that the kids are into, that you really can't carve out time for yourself. So just keep it very simple and don't overwhelm yourself with all these different things you want to do. I mean, I'm so guilty of that as I talk about this episode. I'm so guilty of this. I will pack my to-do list with all these different things that I want to do, and knowing I'm only going to really do like maybe 2 of them, right? And so here I am setting myself up for failure because I felt like, God, I really thought I was going to get to all that stuff, and I didn't. So I just think it's important for us to be mindful about the things that we want to do and the things that we put on our list so that we don't set ourselves up for failure. And I think that's important. And I think we need to get out of this headspace where we feel like you got to have all this stuff to do in order to seem like you're actually doing something, when that's not true. It's not true. Being busy does not equal productivity. It just doesn't. So let's keep that in mind. Now, this is one of the hardest things for us to do. But what I'm about to say is one of the hardest things for us to do, but it's so necessary. And it's learning to say no. Now, I know a lot of you guys don't understand how to say no. Like some of us are people pleasers. Some of us don't want to tell people no. We don't want to tell our kids no. We don't want to tell our husband no. We don't want to tell our friends no. We don't want to tell people the job no. But you have to remember that protecting your time is so crucial, especially when you're trying to focus on what matters. So it's really not serving your goals or bringing you joy to say it's okay to say no. You know what I mean? It's really okay to say no. So just try to simplify your commitments. Simplify them. You free up more space for what's important to you versus having your time so cluttered with what's important to everybody else. We do that way too often. We do it way too often. So let's try to learn that saying no does not mean you're a bad person. Protecting your space and your peace does not mean you're a selfish person. It just means I know my boundaries. I know my limits. I know how much I can put on myself. Sometimes a lot of us walk around, you put too much on yourself. You really put too much on. So I think this one here, I kind of have it down pack. I really don't try to spread myself thin because I know it doesn't serve me. I really try to do and only commit to the things I really know I can do. I'm not that person that feels like I have to say yes to everybody. I'm not that person that feel like I have to say yes to every opportunity. You know what I mean? So it's just being able to understand and decipher what's important to you, what you want to say yes to and what you want to say no to. It's okay. And if people get disappointed because you said no, that's on them. You have nothing to do with that. You have to know your limits and you have to know what you can and can't do. I think that's the most important thing because sometimes it's okay to be selfish. It really is. If you ask me, men do it all the time, but that's a different conversation. But it's okay sometimes to say that I really want to just focus on me. I don't want to take on anything extra at this moment. I think it's okay to say it. It really is. So let's not get into a space where we feel like we have to say yes and overwhelm ourselves. Because I know that's one of the biggest things that overwhelm people a lot too. It's just saying yes to too many things and not setting boundaries for people and then feeling overwhelmed because you feel like you have to accomplish all this stuff for other people. So let's learn how to just say it's okay to say no and feel comfortable in it. It might feel funny. Like if you're a person who always says yes, first time you say no to someone, it is going to eat you up because you're going to feel uncomfortable with it. But then you're going to realize, you know what? I'm glad I did because now I have this time where I can kind of sit and read, sit and listen to a favorite podcast, Light Girl, take note, or sit and, I don't know, veg out on a movie or something that you've been wanting to do. It's okay to say no for some of the things that you want to do. Now, the next one I'm about to bring up is going to be something that a lot of us don't want to do. This is step 4. And I know this is tough. I know this one is going to be tough, but bear with me. Social media is one of the biggest distractions we face today. The average person spends nearly 2 hours a day scrolling through feeds. And let's be real, how much of that time is productive? And I gotta tell you, I probably spend way more than 2 hours just strolling through feeds and down people For You pages. I spend more than 2 hours. Easily, I can spend 4 to 5 hours just kind of just scrolling through social media, right? But unplugging for even a few hours a day can drastically improve your focus and drive. And it can give you back valuable time to work on your goals and simplify and simply just rest. So it's okay to take a break and watch how your clarity returns. Because we know we can get so diluted and so distracted by social media. Like a lot of us, when we wake up in the morning, the first thing we're doing is grabbing our phone and seeing what's on social media. We're not really just standing, just being still and I don't know, visualizing, because I like to do visualization in the morning before I get up. And so a lot of us are not doing that, right? We're getting on social media. That's the first thing we want to do. And we're listening to the propaganda, all the misinformation that's happening on social media. And we're retaining all that stuff, the negativity stuff that happened, or you're looking at somebody else's business or life and thinking that this is where I should be. Why am I not here? So many different things that can distract us from actually doing what we want to do. And know what's so crazy to me? I feel like back in the day, TV used to be that distraction. Like you'll sit and veg out on TV shows, where now social media is that distraction because we can take it with us wherever we go. So it's okay to unplug. And I know it's going to feel weird in the beginning when you say, okay, I'm going to give myself 2 hours a day where I'm not going to get on social media. I'm not going to care what's going on. And I feel like, we get that FOMO where we fear like we're going to miss out on something, and we need to be a part of the conversation and we need to know what's happening because social media makes us feel that way. But also sometimes social media can be a very toxic environment. It really can. Like some of these apps are really shifting when it comes to how people behave on these apps. Like I said, the misinformation that's kind of spewed on these apps also can be a deterrent from people to want to even participate on them. The bullying, the negativity, it's become a lot, where once it used to be a space where you can really be creative, right? See different types of content, be entertained, be educated, right? You'd be able to see different ways people live, different parts of the world, where now it's becoming so different now. It's really becoming a different space. So unplugging for a few hours, I think, is absolutely an amazing thing to do. I don't think there's nothing wrong with unplugging. I think we all should unplug sometimes, even if we can do like a social media fast where we go 7 days without social media. We should give it a try and see. Or better yet, just like I said, just take baby steps. 7 days might be a lot, right? Because a lot of us live on social media for our businesses. And so it's hard to be gone 7 days and not posting and people wonder what happened to you, right? Because it changed so quickly. But I think just being able to put it down for a few hours, like give yourself time in the morning to do your morning routine. And that's not picking up social media. That's not going directly on social media. That's actually spending time in the morning, working out, journaling, meditating, right? Listening to a podcast, something inspirational, something positive. It's not necessarily strolling down looking at other people's lives and see what they have going on. So let's learn to do that. I think it's important for us to do that. And now step 5, this one I think is a game changer. And I've talked about this before on the podcast, which is automating and delegating tasks. Whether it's automating bill payments, which is simple to do, delegating household chores, taking things off your plate that you really don't need to constant attention is key. Now, according to a recent study, not delegating tasks, and I thought this was interesting, not delegating tasks can cost you up to 20% of your annual income due to lost time and productivity. So it tells you that if you delegate things off to other people, you actually will be making more money when you do that way. You lose money when you try to do it all yourself, but you make money when you delegate, when you can find people that can come into your space and hire people on that can help you. So just think about that. By simplifying what you personally handle, you can focus on energy and more meaningful work. And I think that's important. But I know as entrepreneurs, we get into this mindset, especially solopreneurs, we get into this mindset of like, oh no, I got to do it on my own when we just don't have to. And I've been so fortunate to talk to entrepreneurs on this show and a lot of them talk about teams and delegation and growing, right? Scaling. In order to scale, you don't scale on your own. You scale with a team. That's just the way that is. If you want to really see your business flourish and see your business grow, you need to bring in people that can really help you do that. Because people are experts in certain areas that you don't have to be an expert in. You just don't. I don't have to know how to do, bookkeeping when somebody else does that better than me. I'm not a finance girl. Somebody else can do that part. My VA assistant is a very important person to me. Because all the little tasks and stuff like that I don't want to do, that's what a VA assistant does. And so it's important. So just think about that, being able to hire yourself a VA, an assistant that can take off some of the things off your plate. It will change your business life, period. It would change your life to not have to worry about every little piece of your business. By having a VA that can handle, you can push off social media too, right? You can just give them all the administrative duties that you have to do. You can just push them over to them. It works so much better. I'm telling you, it works so much better. So being able to delegate is something that's so important. And next, we're going to talk about setting boundaries. Setting boundaries is non-negotiable. Right? That's what we mean with the power of no. When you have the power of no, when you're able to say no to people, that's you setting boundaries. And they're non-negotiables, because when you really want to simplify your life and not feel overwhelmed, this means not allowing people, work, or even family to consume all your time. Being able to set those clear boundaries about when you're available, when you're off limits, when you protect your time, you give yourself space to focus on your own growth, mental health, and your happiness. That's what you do. So being able to set those boundaries, and I know we live in a culture now that boundaries are so important to people. I think when I was growing up, we didn't know anything about boundaries, right? We just did. We just do. There was no, I'm setting my boundaries. It's a different time and space where people are actively setting their boundaries because they know what they can handle and what they can't handle. And they understand that their mental health is top priority for them. Because remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. You just can't. You have to be able to fill up your own cup if you want to be able to help others. That's even with your family members, your kids, your husband, your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it may be. You can't pour into other people if you're empty. So set those boundaries, set time for yourself. Let people know I'm off limits from this time to that time because I have to focus on my mental health. I have to focus on me. I see big creators do it all the time on social media when they come out and they speak about something and people just kind of really get upset and go in on them and bully them and do all this kind of stuff. A lot of them have to take space and step back for their own mental health, because it's important to do it. It's important to do it when people are coming at you in a certain way. But even as for those of us who are not like big social media influencers, it's important for us to do it in our own lives, to set boundaries with family members. I know I had to do that with my own family members. I had to really set boundaries with them when it came to me doing everything. I had to step back and be like, no, I can't. And it was such an uncomfortable thing for me to do when I first did it. But when I did it, I understood that, God, now I have that time free where I'm not doing this thing for them because I felt like I should be doing it. Right? So being able to set boundaries is such a healthy thing, and it's such a positive thing in your life. And so kudos to you guys that actually practice that. And for those of you guys that don't, you will feel so much better when you're able to set boundaries. And it's okay. Whatever a boundary is for you, that's for you. People don't get to tell you what your boundaries should be. You let people know what your boundaries are. And I think that's what's important. Now, finally, let's talk about mindfulness. And I think lately has been a trend with my solo episodes. I've been talking a lot around mindfulness, because simplifying your life is not just about doing less. It's about being present, taking time each day to practice mindfulness and gratitude. I think we need to learn how to live a life of gratitude. And I'm like, Oprah is like queen for saying this kind of thing. Being able to live a life of gratitude, even if it's just for 10 minutes a day. Studies show that practicing mindfulness can reduce stress by 30%. By 30%, just by practicing mindfulness, just by being present in your moment. That's what meditation does. Meditation helps you be present in the moment. And so being able to practice mindfulness, it really helps you maintain your focus on a lot of things that matter. Plus, when you focus on what truly matters, you're grateful. The chaos of life feels less overwhelming when you're able to focus on what truly matters, when you're able to have that mindfulness and show gratitude. Then chaos of life is not so bad. So try to find space in your life to practice these 7 steps, right? These 7 steps that really help you simplify everything. And be grateful and be mindful, be present in the moment. I think we're so often, because of social media, I see it too, where even with the kids, sometimes they're here and everybody's on their tablets, everybody's on their phone, where I feel like we're all here together, but we're not really present because everybody's so distracted. So put down the phones and put down the tablets and put down whatever it is and be present wherever room you're in. Whomever is in front of you you're talking to, be present with them. Be present, let them know you're listening. And you'll see how much life changed. But listen, I found a statistic. Here's a statistic that really blew my mind. Did you know that not having focus can cost you big time? Like big time. Now, according to research, the lack of focus and constant distraction cost the U.S. businesses over $6 billion each year in lost productivity. On a personal level, distractions and multitasking can reduce your performance by up to like 40%, they said. So not having focus, it's just not costing you time. It can also be costing you money, peace, and even success. So let's learn to understand that we have to push away those distractions in our life and try to be focused on what we really need to do and what really matters to us. But let's not overwhelm ourselves with so much. This is not a conversation for you to now go back and feel like, okay, now I got to do all these different things. No, you don't. You focus on what we said, that we focus on 2 or 3 things. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't try to do it all at once. Like you just don't have to. You can be mindful that I don't have to do everything at once. You just don't. For the week, plan out 2 to 3 things that you want to get accomplished. And if you get 2 of those things done, great. If you get 1 of those things done, that's great too. Let's not beat ourselves up for the things that we didn't get a chance to do. Let's not do that to ourselves. Let's be a little bit more mindful about what we do for ourselves. But listen, there you have it. Your 7 steps to simplifying your life and focus on what truly matters. And when you start applying these steps, you'll notice how much easier it becomes to achieve your goals and to find peace in the everyday. And I'm practicing these myself. So I'm a work in progress, guys. I am. I'm not saying I have this down pack and I'm perfect. I'm really working on myself. But I think the thing to remember is that the goal isn't to do more, but it's to do what's most important. Listen, so as always, if you find today's episode helpful, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave us a review. Also, drop a comment down below and let us know what you think of these 7 steps, if they're going to be helpful to you and which one kind of resonate with you the most. But I'm so happy you guys took this time with me today for this episode. I'm always appreciative of my solo episodes because it's my opportunity to sit and have just one-on-one time with you guys, which I always love. And after reaching 100 episodes, a great milestone for the podcast, I'm even more excited about what's next to come for this podcast. I really am. And I'm seeing such great growth with it in terms of like the type of guests that we're booking. And so I'm on this journey and I'm practicing these 7 steps myself. And I will keep you guys updated just to see how I'm doing with them as well. So until next time, stay focused, stay clear, and keep taking notes. I'll see you guys in the next episode.